Hello, Anne-Marie here from Spot On. I am a driving instructor and a driving instructor trainer, and I help people pass driving tests and pass theory tests, pass instructor tests, and to be more confident about the tests as well. Well, theory test centres open again from the 12th of April. That's great news, isn't it? Have you got your test booked? Have you found it hard to motivate yourself during lockdown? And do you really want to pass first time? Well, I'm here now to give you some tips on how to stay motivated, how to get motivated to prepare to pass your test, and how to make sure that you do prepare to pass it on your first attempt. So I'm going to give you tips on getting motivated and tips on preparing to pass your theory test. So first of all, let's talk about getting motivated, because it's something that a lot of people have struggled with lots of areas of their life during lockdown. It's really hard, isn't it, sometimes to get motivated and stay motivated, even at the best of times, but particularly during lockdown. So tip number one, focus on the end result. Your end result is being able to drive and having the independence to take yourself where you want to go, when you want to go, isn't it? Your end result is not having to rely on other people, friends or family, to take you places. Your end result is not having to rely on public transport. So focus on that end result. When you're losing and lacking motivation, focus on that end result and picture yourself driving your car and focus on how that will feel, how that will make you feel to be able to do that independently. That's tip number one, focus on the end result. Tip number two, small steps. You don't need to spend long periods of time revising. Revise for 10, 15, 20 minutes, 2 or 3 times a day. How long you can focus on depends on you, nobody else. How long can you focus on? And if it's 10 minutes or if it's 20 minutes, that's fine. But stop revising before you've been doing it for too long. Stop revising before you get bored. Stop revising before you get fed up. Stop revising while you're still learning and you're still achieving from that revision session, because as soon as you've started to get bored, then it's hard. You're not learning anything for a start, and it's going to be hard next time to motivate yourself, because all your body, all your mind can remember is that it's a boring thing to do. And make sure you have days off. Give yourself breaks. So small steps, but give yourself days off. You don't have to do it every day. So that's tip number two, small steps. Tip number three, plan and review. Plan your revision. First of all, I've already said, haven't I? Plan short periods of time, 2 or 3 times a day. And I've said you don't need to do it every single day. You just don't need to. You don't have to. But plan what you're going to do. For example, I'm going to cover this topic in the next 2 days, and I'm going to do this number of hazard perception clips this week. And then look at what you've done and look at what you've achieved. So you can see this is where I was and this is where I am now. And that will help you to feel better about it. If you're using a good workshop or a good app, then you can see your achievements as you're going along. You can see the bar moving of how much you've achieved. I've done 30% of the workshop. I've now done 35% of the workshop. You can see that bar moving. So you can see you can review your progress in that way. And then use your family, use your friends as support. Tell them about your goals and achievements. Today, Mum, I did all of the documents section, and I had to go at 5 hazard perception clips, and I scored 3, 4 and 5 for all of those clips. So plan and review is tip number 3. Tip number 4, rewards and happy times. Rewards and happy times. You've done the work, you've achieved your goals. Now what are you going to do for yourself? What are you going to do that makes you happy? I was going to do, for example, I was going to do 3 sets of 10 minutes, and you've done it. You've done 3 sets of 10 minutes of revision today, and you've practiced 10 hazard perception clips a day. Now, how are you going to reward yourself and give you the happy times? What happy times? Is that going to be a bar of chocolate? Is that going to be a relaxation in the bath? Is that going to be putting a sticker on a chart? I mean, it might seem daft, but putting a sticker on a chart feels good, you know. I'm sure you know that. It feels good. So what is it going to be? What are you going to do to make yourself feel better about what you've done, about what you've achieved? That was tip number 4, rewards and happy times. Final tip, tip number 5. Have you got a friend or somebody you know in college, work, school who's also studying for their theory test? Why not work together? Talk about your achievements. Talk about your goals first. Talk about your goals. Talk about your achievements. Talk about what you've learned. Talk about what you need to learn. You can study together. All right, we can't meet up. We shouldn't be together with people, should we? Unless they're in our bubble or we live with them. But you can do it online, can't you? You can do it on, you can talk to people on Messenger, can't you? And you can say, well, let's do this bit of studying together. So use a friend to help you progress. It's always easier, isn't it, to do things together. If, for example, somebody, you didn't want to go to the gym, can't at the moment, can we, because they're closed, but you don't want to go to the gym, you find it really hard to motivate yourself. If you plan to go to the gym with a friend, then you will go. So plan with a friend, with a colleague, that you will meet up and you will do this work together, or you will talk about what you've achieved, what you've learned the following day at work or college. Okay, so that was tip number 5, working together. It might not be possible for everybody, but for some of you it might be. Now let's talk about how to actually prepare for your theory test. There are 3 things you need to do to know that you're ready to answer the theory questions, answer the multiple choice questions. The 3 things you need to do. Firstly, you need to learn all about the topics that are covered in the theory test. Learn all about the topics. That's the first thing you do. The second thing you do is you practice all of the theory questions, all of them. You can't do that with a free app. That has got to be a paid for app, because the paid for apps have all of the questions on them. So learn about the topics and then practice all the questions, and then you start to do mock tests. Only then do you start to do mock tests. And then make sure you pass at least 3 mock tests with a good score, not scraping through with 43 or 44. You want to be getting 48, 49, 50. Okay, so pass at least 3 mock tests with a good score. And then to make sure you're ready for the hazard perception part of the test, you need to know what a hazard is, what types of hazards to expect in your theory test, where to look for the hazards when you're doing the hazard perception clips, and when to click the mouse for hazards. Practice as many hazard perception clips as you can. Again, you need a paid for app for that. And then you practice full hazard perception mock tests, because you will do 14 clips one after the other, and you need to practice staying focused for that long. That will come easy, but you need to practice it. Practice doing lots of clips all at once, and then make sure you're passing your hazard perception mock test as well. When you're doing that, then you know your test ready. So how can you learn about all the topics that are in the theory test? First of all, one way of doing it is to, let's get this ready for you, is to read and take notes from the books that the theory test questions are based on. And those books are The Highway Code, Know Your Traffic Signs, and The Official Guide to Driving the Essential Skills. Those are the 3 books that the questions are based on. So one way of knowing all about all the topics is to read those 3 books and maybe take notes as you're going along. Another way is by doing a workshop, an online workshop, a theory workshop, and going through that at your own pace. You will watch video tutorials about all the things that you need to know, the information that is in these books. You'll watch video tutorials about it instead of reading. You could read as well, of course. Okay. Or you can do theory classes. Weekly theory classes where you meet on Zoom and a topic each week is delivered to you. So over the space of, there are 14 topics, so over the space of 14 or 15 weeks, you will hear about all the topics, and you will hear about hazard perception as well. You'll also hear about tactics for answering questions, how to make answering questions really, really easy. That will be in the workshop and in the classes. Okay, now if you don't feel that you have got the motivation to do a workshop on your own at home over the space of a few weeks, or you don't want to spend every week for 14, 15 weeks listening to a theory class, there is another way you can do it. You can do all the revision over one weekend. Over a Friday, a Saturday and a Sunday, you can do all of the revision in a Learn Theory in a Weekend course. The Learn Theory in a Weekend course is going to be over the 9th, 10th and 11th of April, because the theory test centres open again on the 12th of April. So if your test is not long after the 12th of April, you might be interested in doing a Learn Theory in a Weekend course. So Friday, Saturday and Sunday, you'll get access to all of the theory classes, about half-hour classes they are. You'll get access to a worksheet that you can fill in as you're listening to each class. You get access to the answer sheets as well. And there'll be a hazard perception class in those as well. And by the end of the weekend, by Sunday night, you will feel much more confident about taking your theory test. You'll know easy methods of remembering all of the information you need to know. For example, you will have a really, really easy way of reading signs, road signs, traffic signs. You'll have a really, really easy, foolproof, really, really easy method of knowing what the different coloured studs are on a motorway. So all of that information about all of the theory tests you can learn over one weekend. So if you're interested in the Learn Theory in a Weekend course, get in touch with me and I'll send you more information. If you're interested in my workshop where you can have everything you need, including a revision resource, really great app. You get all of that for the money. If you're interested in that and you can learn in your own time, then get in touch with me, or my weekly theory classes where I cover one topic a week. So what have I covered? I've talked about getting motivated to study, and I've talked about how to prepare to pass your test, and I've also talked about my brand new Learn Theory in a Weekend where I've got everything you need, all the topics you need to learn about. You can have access to all of those over Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And my next weekend, you can study at your own time. You can watch these videos anytime you want to over that weekend. But I'm doing this next weekend on the 9th, 10th and 11th of April, ready for theory tests starting again on the 12th of April.